Alright guys and girls, this is Jerningham here. We're going to be watching a video with Poland. Polish troops board at US border in Poland. 5,000 American troops are there. This is a month ago, but it still gives you a kind of a rough idea that the US and Poland will fight if Russia decides to invade NATO or any other part of Poland. And we're going to be watching the video. Some of you may have seen this a month ago, some of you may not have seen it. Let's put the video on and show you. It's a clear message to Russia.
Troops from the US 82nd Airborne Division on the march.
Hold on a minute, I think I've just pressed the wrong button on the TV. I accidentally pressed the wrong button, do apologise. It's easily done.
1,000 American soldiers already.
Let's put it back on again.
Troops from the US 82nd Airborne Division on the march in the forests of Arlamov in Poland's Carpathian Mountains. The contingent is part of a wider deployment of 5,000 US troops sent to Poland in recent weeks. That's in addition to the 4,000 American soldiers already in the country. NATO is sending a message that they will defend every inch of alliance territory.
The Ukrainian border is just a few hundred meters down this track. And as thousands of American troops conduct exercises in these Polish forests, Russia has been conducting airstrikes on Ukrainian targets just over the frontier.
There are growing fears of an accidental engagement between the US and Russia. A hotline has been set up to avoid that scenario. But there are also fears that NATO troops in Eastern Europe could be targeted in the event of escalation. Russia's President Vladimir Putin last month raised the alert level of his nuclear forces in response to what he described as NATO's aggressive statements.
NATO still is saying that it will not intervene on Ukrainian territory, but increasingly Western weapons are flowing into Ukraine through NATO member states. And it is possible that Putin will, or in fact already sees, such military support, which it has to be said on our side is not particularly controlled or accompanied by careful messaging, as NATO joining the fight. In other words, the discussion to some degree is now about whether Putin would be willing to use tactical nuclear weapons against NATO forces on NATO territory. That would be a new world.
The alliance must not let Putin get away with nuclear blackmail, says Fabrice Potier, a former head of policy planning at NATO.
What will stop Putin from doing the same next time, possibly including against a NATO ally?
NATO has repeatedly said it will not get directly involved in the conflict. Potier says the alliance should do more.
Are we fully aware of the danger of not doing anything? If I look at that recent history, actually the risk of standing on the sideline and clamoring that we are covering the NATO allies back, but our mission stops at the NATO border, that I think risk is no longer acceptable.
Ukraine's border with Poland has become the major gateway for refugees fleeing the conflict, but it is also becoming a key strategic frontier, a conduit for NATO weapons heading into Ukraine and a potential future flashpoint.
For decades, Ukraine has acted as an effective buffer zone between NATO and Russia. But if the Kremlin's forces seize all of Ukraine, there is little to separate NATO troops and Russian soldiers. There is no border fence here, just mountains and forests. Henry Ridgewell for VOA News, Arlamov on the Polish-Ukraine border.
There we go, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think about this? Is it going to get worse there, or will it get better? Anyway, thank you for joining this video. See you next one. Peace. Take it easy. I know this video was a month ago. That's not the VOA news one. Will it be an update soon? Enjoy. Peace. Take it easy.